2, 3.
Good morning, everyone. Today's Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. The time is 10 a.m. We're continuing our special meeting to discuss fiscal year 22 budget review. Today we have Dr. Keene, our coroner. Attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, our one and only business item, the review of the fiscal 22 coroner budget. Dr. Keene, take it away, sir.
Warren Keene from the coroner's office, for the record. We don't often get to visit, but I want to thank you for all the hard work you did on last year's budget, and that reflects on what's happening with this year's budget as well. We were able to use vehicle fleet management to obtain another vehicle for the coroner's office, so we now have 2 vehicles. But then that institutes I need to increase my gas and repair of the same vehicle, so that's reflected in the budget. We've moved into our new office space. Most of you have been there. It's exceedingly appreciated by myself and all my deputies and all the public, as well as law enforcement that comes to the office to visit with us and discuss cases. We now have the ability to provide educational opportunities for my deputies as well as for law enforcement with a television screen so that we can project images up on the wall and discuss various things. So I want to thank you for all of that. But then that does leave me with some extra expenses that I didn't have last year. We were able to cover that and still return some money to the budget. And I know when we come to the budget, we're supposed to talk about, you know, nice to have and must-haves. And that's why I've left the budget almost entirely blank, other than those few other items. And the one item is in a capital expense, which is a refrigerated morgue trailer, and I think that's absolutely essential for my office to function in the next year. And the reason why that is we reworked the mutual memorandum of understanding with Spokane last year, and I tried to elicit to see if they would give us some fudge factor on mass fatalities. As you know, the airplane crashes last summer were very devastating for the families and also taxed our system to the maximum. The sheriff's office and my office were the only ones that responded out of the mass fatality plan. And I believe our current plan is almost unworkable because we have no real way to perform a good autopsy with scientific information if we use that mass fatality plan. And if you're not familiar with it, we would bring a refrigerated trailer to the funeral home. We would do their prep room for the autopsy, but we don't have any way to get radiographic evidence, dental x-rays, all of the other specialized things that we would need to take care of the decedents in a mass fatality. And so last year, last month, I brought you the MOU with the Missoula, the Montana Forensic Unit, where they would take up to 15 decedents for us. I tried to contact Spokane to see if we could fudge it so that they would take 5, and then we could take 15 to Missoula, which would still keep us at 20 decedents taken care of. And I got kind of a waffle answer out of Spokane that they didn't change the meaning, and so if we had 5 or more deaths in a 24-hour period, then no, they wouldn't help us. But, you know, gosh, if it ever happens to you, give us a call, maybe we can do something. And I can't run my office on maybes, and that's why this morgue trailer is essential to maintaining the service for our citizens. I would ask that it come out of fund balance, as I know it's a tough thing to balance the budget of taxes and those kind of things moving forward. Our mass fatality becomes a transport issue. We need to transport the bodies somewhere to get a scientific, accurate autopsy, whether it takes DNA, dental x-rays, hardware that's inserted into a deceased person, history of, you know, various broken bones and that kind of stuff, all help to scientifically identify the decedent. And that's where I would like that recommendation to go for. The other things that you see on the line item, things that Dina gracefully has given us, the breakdown. The Part A is, budget Part A is where you've made decisions as far as COLA and salary increases and that kind of stuff, and I appreciate that for all of my deputies moving forward. The other things that you see are the coroner vehicles, water service in the office so that they can have drinking water without having to run downstairs all the time. And then we have new utilities for the office as far as sewer, water, gas, electricity, those kind of things. And then we have to also clean the offices, and that's why the janitorial services are added in. And that's kind of my presentation. I would stand for any questions that you have or concerns.
So, Doc, on the operational expenses, those were previously absorbed by another?
Yes.
That was the BOCC. Were we absorbing that? Who
No.
who was paying for that previously? Was the sheriff?
Me.
Well, the sheriff was paying for his new location. He was paying for his old location. No, even elections paid for the old location.
Right, and so these,
Oh, that's right, because you were in elections. That's right.
right, these utilities, I believe in December or January, started coming out of my current budget.
Okay, fair enough. Got it. Any other questions?
Just a question about the trailers. Do you think you can get it fully outfitted? And I know prices are changing right now. With the 58,000 asked for, is that fully outfitted, or will you need to provide additional things for the trailer once you get it?
No, this would be a fully operational trailer, and what I did, because of the variety of prices and no one could guarantee it beyond a 30-day bid, I took the high and the low and averaged them, and that's where I came out with the 58,000. I think if we do a request for a proposal, we will get a substantial savings of this point. And they come able to haul about 12 to 16 decedents, fully insulated, refrigerated trailer brakes, generator, and everything that's needed. And the reason why that this is important is that if Spokane won't help us and we have 6 deceased persons, then we're gonna have to have a declaration of emergency from you. It's gonna have to go to the state, and then we're gonna have to get the federal DMORT program in to run for our 6 decedents, which is, according to Tiffany from OEM and Alana from the health unit, it's $250,000 to sign up for the DMORT people to come here. I mean, they will bring everything. They will bring a portable autopsy unit. They'll bring all their x-ray, everything, all their experienced people and those kind of things, but it's expensive. And I think that this would be a significant savings for our citizens so that we don't have to go that way.
And that's for a single transport. In other words, if you have to, if FEMA has to come in, basically we're talking about a single trip.
Yes.
Okay. 250,000.
Well, it's not FEMA, it's it's in the federal FEMA program, but it's a DMORT team that comes in, the Disaster Mortuary Response Team.
Dina, what's the situation? I'm curious. The recent $2 million that we got, or 2.5. What is that?
The 2.5 from the CARES funding?
Yes.
Okay, so the CARES. Okay. So originally, we received just a little bit over $4 million for the CARES funding.
Yes.
And we spent about half of that, and then the other half was sent to us by the state. So we have that money, it's set aside. So it is grant money. From the state's point of view, we can spend it on what we want, but it's still subject to audit. And the Treasury Department could come back and question expenses in the future, but will they? We don't know.
Okay.
So we
What's
have that
remaining?
money in hand.
Say 2 mil?
2 million.
200, okay.
And Commissioners, if I may, during the COVID death scene, Shoshone County did not have enough space for their deceased persons. The second health district out of Lewiston did have a similar trailer that what I'm proposing, and they were able to tow it up to Shoshone, and Rick, the coroner in Shoshone County, said it was awesome. Did everything that they wanted to do, kept all the bodies stored appropriately before they could then proceed with their funeral needs and that kind of stuff. For storage and transportation, it was awesome. And so I asked Panhandle Health to order a trailer, and they declined to even discuss it. So that's why I'm bringing it forward in my budget, because it's something that we need desperately. Commissioner Duncan asked me to talk to Tiffany and see if there were any OEM grants or anything coming up, especially with the funding that is out there. And she said that the rules have not been written, but probably not to count on it and to put it forward in the budget. If the language comes forward in the future, then we could, write a grant for it. But at this point in time, it does not look like that would be available.
Why wouldn't some of the balance of the CARES funding qualify? I don't know. I'm bringing it up.
My only question is that we haven't needed it with the COVID activity so far, and it would be hard to justify when we didn't need it during the pandemic moving forward.
Right.
It's not directly mitigating COVID.
No, it's not.
It's kind of a sticking point.
No, it's more for future planning for similar situations. Okay. Thank you.
Can I just ask about the temporary seasonal line item? You have it going up by $4,000. Do you already have?
What, pardon me, what line is that?
7005, it's the third line in your, in that sheet Dina gave you?
Right, right. That's in the Part A budget.
Yes.
And that's the part-time deputy, that change from the 21 to 22. I'm not sure what that change is, but remember, we did do a retention bonus.
Yes, we did.
For one of my part-time deputies, and I believe that's that money.
Yeah, so that pulled into the budget at a higher rate.
Okay. Thanks.
Because he had previously retired or something, is that it?
He is Percy retired, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
And cannot get overtime or comp time or any of that kind of stuff.
All right. Bill, any questions?
No, not really. I'm not, honestly, I understand when there's a need for the refrigerated morgue trailer, but it happens so infrequently. I'm not a big fan of it.
When was, to the best of your recollection, when was the last time this county had a mass fatality that exceeded 5?
Besides last year?
Yeah, besides last year, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's
besides
what-
last
I'm
year?
sorry, I should have qualified that.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of one prior to that. The biggest mass fatality event in the northern panhandle was probably the Sunshine Mine accident.
Right. But as you pointed out to me, you could, not a pleasant thought, but you could have a 2-car accident with 5 or 6 occupants.
Yes. And you'll need to remember that it used to be in our memorandum with Spokane, it was 5 deaths at an incident would be a mass fatality and they wouldn't help us. Now it's 5 deaths within 24 hours. So it could be 2 different incidences of 3 people each, and we would be over the limit. I would obviously be calling them for some leeway, but if you go by the letter of how it looks, we would be in trouble.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, well,
I'll just throw this in too. When Lewiston helped out Shoshone, did they rent the trailer out to?
I don't know. I think the health unit from up here just called and then they borrowed it.
I'm
But if we
wondering if,
have enough-
yeah, if you had it, if there were a smaller county nearby that needed it, I'm wondering if some of that could be offset by maybe charging a fee to use it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there is a coroner mutual aid agreement for all of the 5 northern counties
Okay.
to help out if they have a problem, but I would obviously have to come back to the commissioners to take any equipment anywhere, because, you know, my people going up to help is one thing, but using, you know, county equipment to go another place would need permission from you.
Did Panhandle have any comment when they said no?
They said, have OEM write a grant. And Tiffany writing a grant or me putting it in the budget, to me, is about the same thing, and that's why it was nice to talk to Tiffany, and she says, right now, in the state OEM, there isn't any money for this. But who knows with the coming regulations with the new money coming out.
okay. Anything else? We're not deliberating today anyway, so. Public comment? None. 10:17. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.